Corleonesi clan. May 23, 1992. The Sicilian afternoon shatters into chaos as a massive explosion tears through the A29 highway near Capaci, outside Palermo. Giovanni Falcone, Italy's most celebrated anti-mafia prosecutor, is traveling with his wife Francesca Morvillo and 3 bodyguards when approximately 400 kilograms of military-grade explosives detonate beneath their motorcade. The roots of the Corleonesi clan stretch back to Sicily's chaotic post-unification period after 1861, when feudal land disputes and weak governance created a vacuum filled by banditry and protection rackets. The small town of Corleone, perched in Sicily's arid interior far from Palermo's urban oversight, became a breeding ground for organized crime. By the early 20th century, the clan had evolved from loose bands of extortionists into a structured criminal organization. Under Michel Navarra, a doctor who controlled citrus groves and cattle rustling operations from 1905 to 1958, the family operated traditionally, extorting local farmers, mediating disputes, and maintaining a low profile. But in the 1960s, everything changed. Luciano Leggio, nicknamed the Tractor for his brutal efficiency, orchestrated Navarra's murder in 1958, seizing power and redirecting the clan toward Palermo's emerging drug trade. Leggio's protege, Salvatore Riina, took control in 1974 with a vision of absolute dominance. Born into a peasant family in 1930, Riina committed his first murder at age 19 and lacked formal education, but possessed a cunning, strategic mind that would transform Cosa Nostra into something resembling a terrorist organization. The Capaci bombing wasn't an isolated incident. It was the culmination of years of escalating violence orchestrated by Riina. Just 57 days later, on July 19, 1992, another massive explosion killed prosecution Paolo Borsellino and 5 bodyguards on Via D'Amelio in Palermo. Inzerillo clan. The night of May 11, 1981, marks the moment when the Inzerillo clan's golden age ended in blood and terror. Salvatore Toto Inzerillo, the charismatic boss of Palermo's Passo di Rigano family, is ambushed and killed with a shotgun blast. But the 37-year-old boss is only the beginning of a systematic massacre. Over the following months, Salvatore Riina's Corleonesi clan murders more than 40 Inzerillo relatives, including women and children, a violation of traditional mafia codes. The most horrifying killing involves Toto's 15-year-old son, Giuseppe, who is murdered with reports claiming his heart was cut out as a message. Survivors, including Giovanni Inzerillo, flee to the United States under the protection of John Gambino, a powerful New York mobster. The Second Mafia War has claimed another prominent family, and the Inzerillo clan's dominance in Palermo's underworld appears finished forever. The Inzerillo clan's rise began in the 1950s under the leadership of Salvatore Toto Inzerillo, who transformed the family from local extortionists into international drug traffickers. The clan's base in Passo di Rigano, a Palermo neighborhood, provided strategic access to the city's port facilities, crucial for their heroin trafficking operations. Allied with New York's powerful Gambino family, the Inzerillo clan processed Moroccan morphine into heroin, creating a transatlantic pipeline that earned them $600 million annually by 1980. Its wealth funded lavish villas, political bribes, and a lifestyle that made them one of Palermo's elite criminal families. Toto Inzerillo himself cultivated relationships with American mobsters during the 1970s, strengthening ties that would later save surviving family members. The weakening of the Corleonesi through arrests created opportunities. However, Operation Old Bridge in 2008, a coordinated U.S.-Italian sting operation, arrested 80 members across multiple continents, thwarting the clan's revival efforts. The operation revealed that the Inzerillo-Gambino connection remained strong despite decades of separation. Bontade clan. April 23, 1981. Stefano Bontade's 42nd birthday should have been a celebration. Instead, it becomes his execution. The man known as the Prince of Villa Grazia is machine-gunned to death as he returns home from birthday festivities. The assassination is precisely timed, deliberately chosen for maximum symbolic impact. Killing a boss on his birthday demonstrates the Corleoneses' contempt for tradition and their willingness to violate every unwritten rule of Cosa Nostra. The Bontade family's history represents a different kind of Cosa Nostra, one built on refinement rather than crude violence. Founded by Francesco Bontade between 1914 and 1974, the clan rose to prominence under his son Stefano, born in 1939. Unlike many mafia bosses who were barely literate, Stefano was educated and charismatic. moving comfortably in Sicily's political and business elite. During the 1970s, the Bontade clan controlled Palermo's heroin trade, generating approximately $400 million annually through sophisticated international networks. The clan maintained deep ties to Sicily's Christian Democrat Party, bribing officials and controlling votes in Palermo's upscale districts. Their operations were refined. Extortion focused on high-end businesses rather than street vendors. Money laundering flowed through legitimate companies, and violence was employed surgically rather than theatrically. With approximately 80 made members, the Bontade clan represented everything the Corleonesi despised: aristocratic, diplomatic, and unwilling to embrace total war. Stefano Bontade's murder wasn't spontaneous. It was carefully planned by Salvatore Riina, who viewed the sophisticated Palermo boss as a threat to Corleonesi dominance. The machine gun attack was designed to be unmistakable. This wasn't a Cosa Nostra execution with a single bullet to the head. It was a statement of dominance. Badalamenti clan. The year is 1984, and one of Cosa Nostra's most powerful bosses becomes a fugitive. Gaetano Badalamenti, architect of the Pizza Connection drug network that laundered $165 billion through U.S. pizzerias, flees Sicily after defeats in the Second Mafia War. For years, the Badalamenti clan had dominated international heroin trafficking, using Palermo's airport as their smuggling hub and maintaining sophisticated partnerships with New York's Bonanno family. Now, with Corleonesi death squads hunting rival bosses, Badalamenti escapes to Brazil, then to Spain, desperately trying to maintain his criminal empire while evading both Italian authorities and Salvatore Riina's assassins. His flight marks the beginning of the end for one of Cosa Nostra's most innovative criminal enterprises. The Badalamenti clan's origins trace to Cinisi, a small town near Palermo, where Gaetano Badalamenti was born in 1923. Unlike the Corleonesis' crude violence, the Badalamenti family built their empire through strategic thinking and international vision. During the 1970s, Gaetano recognized that heroin trafficking offered unprecedented profits, and he pioneered the routes and methods that would make the Sicilian Mafia a dominant force in the global drug trade. Allied with the Bonanno crime family in New York, the Badalamenti clan supplied approximately 20% of U.S. heroin at the height of their operations. The Pizza Connection represented criminal innovation on a massive scale. Using Italian immigrant-owned pizzerias across America as fronts for money laundering, the network moved billions of dollars while maintaining the appearance of legitimate small businesses. The clan consisted of approximately 60 made members, operating with military precision. His son Vito Badalamenti, born in 1959, attempted to revive the family's operations in the 2000s and 2010s, but with limited success. The combination of intense law enforcement attention, the clan's weakened position after the Second Mafia war losses, and the Corleonesis' continued dominance made restoration of the Badalamenti's former power nearly impossible. Greco clan. The scene is a Palermo courtroom in 1986, and Michele the Pope Greco sits calmly in the defendant's cage during the historic Maxi trial. As head of the Sicilian Mafia's commission during the 1970s, Greco had been one of the most powerful men in Cosa Nostra, mediating disputes and coordinating strategy among Palermo's families. Now, facing testimony from turncoat Tommaso Buscetta and other pentiti, his carefully constructed facade of legitimacy crumbles. The court will ultimately sentence him to life imprisonment, a stunning fall from grace for the man who had positioned himself as Cosa Nostra's diplomat and statesman. The Greco clan's origins stretch back to Ceculi, a Palermo neighborhood famous for citrus cultivation, establishing them as one of Cosa Nostra's founding families. Unlike the Corleonesis' rural origins, the Greco family built their power in an area where agriculture met urban commerce, controlling both the citrus estates and the markets where produce was sold. This dual position gave them economic leverage and political influence from the beginning. Michele Greco, born in 1924, inherited a powerful criminal organization from his predecessors. As commission head, he was supposed to be above factional conflicts, arbitrating disputes fairly, and maintaining the peace among Palermo's various families. Earlier, Salvatore Greco, who lived from 1923 to 1978, had pioneered drug trafficking routes to the United States, establishing connections. Michele Greco's betrayal of his commission role began subtly during the late 1970s. Rather than maintaining neutrality, he quietly aligned with the Corleonesi, believing that Riina's aggressive approach would ultimately prevail. Strangio-Nirta clan. August 15, 2007, Ferragosto, Italy's summer holiday. Outside a pizzeria in Duisburg, Germany, 6 men are systematically executed in a hail of gunfire. The victims are members of the Pelle-Vottari clan, rivals of the Strangio-Nirta family in the Calabrian town of San Luca. The massacre shocks Germany and exposes the 'Ndrangheta's global reach to an international audience that had barely heard of the Calabrian Mafia. The killings aren't random violence, they're the culmination of a blood feud stretching back decades, rooted in a carnival dispute in 1991 when a Nirta woman was struck by eggs thrown by Pelle clan members. The Strangio-Nirta clan's origins lie deep in Calabria's Aspromonte Mountains, where the 'Ndrangheta evolved from 19th century bandit groups into structured criminal organizations. San Luca, their home base, is a small, isolated town where blood ties and ancient codes of honor still govern social relations. Antonio Nirta, who lived from 1919 to 1987, established the clan's foundations, but the family's dramatic rise began in the 1980s when they recognized cocaine's massive profit potential. The Duisburg massacre required extensive planning and international coordination. Giovanni Strangio, born in 1979, masterminded the operation, identifying the targets during their visit to Germany and arranging for armed clan members to execute them outside the Da Bruno pizzeria. The 6 victims, Francesco Giorgi, Tommaso Venturi, Sebastiano Strangio, Marco Marmo, Francesco Merli, and Giovanni Nirta, were caught completely off guard, executed in seconds by attackers who then disappeared into Germany's immigrant communities. German authorities, previously unaware of the 'Ndrangheta's significant presence in their country, launched massive investigations that revealed networks of Calabrian families operating restaurants, importing businesses, and money laundering operations throughout Germany. Pelle-Vottari clan. The date is August 15, 2007, and in the immediate aftermath of the Duisburg massacre, the Pelle-Vottari clan finds itself devastated. 6 of their members lie dead outside a German pizzeria, executed by their San Luca rivals, the Strangio-Nirta clan. For the Pelle-Vottari family, this represents their nadir in a blood feud that has consumed both clans for nearly 2 decades. The feud, which began with a carnival incident in 1991, has now claimed dozens of lives across Italy and Germany, and the Duisburg killings mark the conflict's most dramatic escalation. The Pelle-Vottari clan emerged in the 1980s as San Luca's 'Ndrangheta families consolidated their positions in the Apici cocaine trade sweeping through Italy. Like their Strangio-Nirta rivals, the Pelle-Vottari family built their power on blood ties and territorial control of San Luca and surrounding areas. The clan's structure, typical of 'Ndrangheta organizations, consisted of approximately 80 made members, virtually all related by blood or marriage. The Pelle-Vottari family's criminal operations focused primarily on cocaine trafficking, with annual revenues estimated at 500 million during their peak years. They also controlled extortion rackets throughout San Luca and surrounding towns, taxing businesses and construction projects. The clan's international presence extended beyond Italy, with operations in Germany, the Netherlands, and Canada, particularly Toronto, where Calabrian immigrant communities provided cover and logistics support. The Duisburg massacre triggered a massive law enforcement response that would ultimately weaken both feuding clans. Italian and German authorities launched coordinated operations targeting 'Ndrangheta networks throughout Europe. Giuseppe Pelle, born in 1960 and one of the clan's senior leaders, was arrested in 2018 following years of surveillance and investigation that traced the clan's cocaine networks from South American suppliers through European ports to street-level distribution. Condello clan. November 18, 2008. After 20 years as one of Italy's most wanted fugitives, Pasquale Condello, known as the Supreme, is finally captured in a secret bunker in Reggio Calabria. The 58-year-old boss had lived in hiding since 1988, moving between safe houses and bunkers while still commanding the Condello clan's vast criminal empire through intermediaries and coded messages. The Condello clan's history is intertwined with the development of modern Reggio Calabria, Calabria's largest city. Pasquale Condello, born in 1950, built his criminal empire during the 1980s, a period of rapid but chaotic development in southern Italy when massive government investments flowed into infrastructure projects. The Condello family recognized that controlling public contracts offered more stable, lucrative profits than drug trafficking alone, though they maintained cocaine and heroin operations as well. The clan's structure included approximately 90 made members, organized hierarchically with Pasquale as the undisputed boss, supported by his brothers and trusted lieutenants who managed different operational areas: extortion, drug trafficking, public contracts, and political relations. Pasquale Condello's 2 decades as a fugitive didn't diminish the clan's power. If anything, his mythical status enhanced it. From hiding, he issued orders that were carried out with precision, demonstrating the 'Ndrangheta's cellular structure where arrested or fugitive bosses can continue commanding through trusted intermediaries. The clan's criminal activities during this period were diverse and profitable. Extortion generated approximately $200 million annually, taxing businesses throughout Reggio Calabria and surrounding areas. Public contract manipulation allowed the family to control infrastructure bids, siphoning millions from government projects, while ensuring that only compliant companies could operate. Pasquale died in prison in 2018, never having regained his freedom. Despite these setbacks, the Condello clan remains active and influential in Reggio Calabria. Bellocco clan. The year is 1996, and Umberto Bellocco, the patriarch who built the Bellocco clan from a local Rosarno family into a major 'Ndrangheta power, receives a life sentence for multiple murders and drug trafficking. For the 59-year-old boss born in 1937, the conviction represents the culmination of a criminal career spanning 4 decades. But unlike families where a founder's imprisonment destroys the organization, the Bellocco clan's blood-based structure ensures continuity. The Bellocco clan's origins trace to the 1960s in Rosarno, a Calabrian town known for its citrus production and, increasingly, as an 'Ndrangheta stronghold. Umberto Bellocco founded the family during a period when traditional 'Ndrangheta activities, extortion, cattle theft, kidnapping, were beginning to be supplemented by more lucrative drug trafficking. Unlike Cosa Nostra families that often had complex relationships between blood relatives and maid members from outside the family, the Bellocco clan maintained strict adherence to the 'Ndrangheta principle that only blood relatives could hold positions of true authority. This created a tightly knit organization of approximately 70 maid members, virtually all related by birth or marriage, making infiltration by law enforcement nearly impossible. The Bellocco clan's criminal portfolio expanded beyond drug trafficking to include arms smuggling from Eastern Europe, providing weapons to other 'Ndrangheta families and international criminal organizations. This diversification proved strategically valuable. When drug enforcement pressure increased, weapons trafficking provided alternative revenue. The family's operations generated approximately $1 billion annually at their peak, making them one of Calabria's wealthiest criminal organizations. Despite Umberto's imprisonment and death in 2022, the Bellocco clan remains a formidable force in Calabrian organized crime. Giuseppe Bellocco, born in 1970, emerged as the current head, maintaining the family's cocaine operations and international connections. Pesce clan. January 2016, Italian authorities arrest Maria Angela Pesce, one of the 'Ndrangheta's rare female bosses, ending her 5-year reign as head of the Pesce clan. Her arrest shocks both law enforcement and the criminal underworld, not because female involvement in 'Ndrangheta activities is uncommon. Women have always played crucial roles as messengers, money managers, and family matriarchs, but because Maria Angela held formal leadership of a major clan, making strategic decisions about cocaine trafficking, territorial disputes, and clan alliances. Her rise to power came not from ambition, but from necessity. When her brother Antonino Pesce, born in 1953, was arrested in 2011, the family faced a leadership vacuum. In the male-dominated 'Ndrangheta culture, women typically serve as regents until sons or brothers can assume control. But Maria Angela proved to be far more than a placeholder. She aggressively expanded the clan's cocaine operations, negotiated with Colombian suppliers, and maintained the family's position in Rosarno's competitive criminal landscape. The Pesce clan's history mirrors that of other Rosarno and 'Ndrangheta families, emerging in the post-World War II period when Calabria's poverty and isolation created conditions for organized crime to flourish. Antonino Pesce built the family's criminal empire during the 1970s, recognizing early that cocaine trafficking would transform the 'Ndrangheta from a regional organization into an international power. The clan established direct relationships with Colombian cocaine cartels during the 1980s, when the explosion of cocaine use in Europe created unprecedented demand. This direct relationship became the foundation of the family's wealth, allowing them to generate approximately $800 million annually in cocaine revenues. Mazzarella clan. December 2018. Ciro Mazzarella, known as the Engineer for his methodical approach to organized crime, dies of natural causes at age 77. Unlike many Camorra bosses who meet violent ends, Ciro's death in his bed represents a rare achievement in Naples' brutal underworld. For 4 decades, he had built the Mazzarella clan into one of Secondigliano's dominant families, surviving wars, arrests, and countless assassination attempts. His funeral becomes a spectacle, with hundreds of mourners, some genuine family and friends, others required by fear or respect to attend, demonstrating the clan's continued influence in northern Naples. But Ciro's death also marks a transition point for the Mazzarella family, as leadership passes to his son Vincenzo Mazzarella, born in 1971, who inherited his father's criminal empire, but also the ongoing conflict with rival clans, particularly the De Lauro family, that has consumed Secondigliano for years. The Mazzarella clan's origins trace to the 1980s, when Ciro recognized that Naples' impoverished, densely populated neighborhoods provided perfect conditions for drug trafficking. Secondigliano, where the family established its base, had high unemployment, poor education, and generations of residents who viewed the Camorra as a more reliable source of income than legitimate work. Unlike the Sicilian Mafia's formal structure or the 'Ndrangheta's blood-based organization, the Camorra operates as a confederation of independent clans that occasionally ally but more often compete. This fragmented structure creates constant tension and periodic explosions of violence as clans fight over territory. Ciro built his empire by controlling heroin distribution throughout Secondigliano in the 1980s, then transitioning to cocaine in the 1990s as that drug became more profitable. The 2004 Scampia feud, though primarily a De Lauro internal war, affected the Mazzarella clan as well, with the chaos creating opportunities to expand territory, but also threatening stability. De Lauro clan, September 16, 2005. After months as Italy's most wanted fugitive, Paolo De Lauro, boss of the De Lauro clan, is arrested in Naples. For the 53-year-old boss, born in 1953, the arrest ends a period of hiding that began when his own clan fractured into civil war. The 2004 Scampia feud, one of Naples' bloodiest conflicts, erupted when Paolo's son Cosimo launched a power grab, splitting the family between loyalists and rebels. The war would claim 130 lives before ending with both Paolo and Cosimo in prison, and the once dominant De Lauro clan fragmented into competing factions. Paolo's arrest marks the end of an era for a family that had controlled Secondigliano's drug trade throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, generating billions through heroin and cocaine distribution while maintaining an iron grip on Naples' northern neighborhoods. The De Lauro clan's rise began in the late 1980s when Paolo, a low-level drug dealer, recognized opportunities in Naples' changing criminal landscape. Traditional Camorra families were weakening due to arrests and internal conflicts, creating space for ambitious new leaders. Paolo built his organization methodically, recruiting from Secondigliano's impoverished youth who viewed drug dealing as their only path to wealth. Unlike some Camorra bosses who ruled through pure intimidation, Paolo combined violence with business acumen, creating efficient distribution networks that maximized profits while minimizing law enforcement attention. By the mid-1990s, the De Lauro clan controlled heroin markets throughout northern Naples, with approximately 80 members organized into cells that could operate independently if higher leadership was arrested. This cellular structure proved crucial to the family's resilience. The aftermath left the De Lauro clan fragmented into multiple competing groups, none possessing the authority or resources of the original family. Some former members aligned with other Camorra clans, while others attempted to maintain independent operations. Cosimo De Lauro died in prison in 2015 at age 42, reportedly from illness, ending any possibility of his eventual leadership. Casalesi clan, July 7, 2011. Michele Zagaria, one of the Camorra's most powerful and brutal bosses, is captured in a secret bunker beneath a farm building in Casapecena. The 52-year-old boss had been a fugitive for 16 years, commanding the Casalesi clan's vast criminal empire from hiding, while authorities searched desperately for him. The bunker's discovery reveals Zagaria's lifestyle during his years underground: comfortable living quarters, air conditioning, communications equipment allowing him to issue orders, and an escape tunnel that proved too slow to use when police arrived. The Casalesi clan's history began with Antonio Bardolino, who founded the family in the 1980s in the province of Caserta, north of Naples. Bardolino recognized that controlling cement production and construction in a rapidly developing region offered more stable profits than traditional Camorra activities. During Italy's construction boom of the 1980s, when massive government investments flowed into southern infrastructure projects, the Casalesi clan positioned itself to capture those opportunities. The family infiltrated construction companies, rigged contract bids, extorted contractors, and controlled cement factories that supplied projects throughout Campania. With approximately 200 members, the Casalesi became the Camorra's largest clan, controlling territory far beyond their Caserta base. What distinguished the Casalesi from other Camorra families was their pioneering of toxic waste disposal as a profit center. During the 1990s, European environmental regulations made legitimate waste disposal expensive. The Casalesi clan offered northern Italian and foreign companies illegal disposal services at a fraction of legal costs. Trucks filled with industrial waste, much of it toxic, would travel south to Campania, where the Casalesi controlled landfills, farms, and empty lots that became dumping grounds. The clan's waste operations earned approximately $500 million while polluting vast areas of agricultural land, leading to increased cancer rates in affected areas, a phenomenon locals called the Triangle of Death. The family's drug trafficking operations were also substantial, with annual revenues estimated at $2 billion across all activities, making them one of Europe's wealthiest criminal organizations. Michel Zagaria's arrest in 2011 weakened, but didn't destroy the Casalesi clan. His imprisonment under the 41 bis regime meant isolation from the outside world, ending his direct command of clan operations. However, the family's structure, built over decades and involving hundreds of members, proved resilient. Arrests in 2023 targeted Casalesi members involved in continued waste disposal schemes and construction rackets, demonstrating that despite leadership losses, the family's core criminal activities persist. Licciardi clan. June 2001. Italian authorities arrest Maria Licciardi, known as the Godmother, ending her reign as one of the Camorra's most powerful bosses. The arrest of a female Camorra boss attracts international media attention, highlighting the Licciardi clan's unique position in Naples' male-dominated underworld. Maria, born in 1951, had assumed leadership in 1999 after her brother Vincenzo Licciardi, the family's founder, was killed in 2007 in prison. The Licciardi clan's origins trace to the 1980s, when Vincenzo built the family's criminal empire in Naples' central districts. Unlike families based in northern neighborhoods like Secondigliano or Scampia, the Licciardi clan controlled areas closer to Naples' historic center, including territories near the port and train station. This geographic positioning gave them access to different criminal opportunities: smuggling through port facilities, prostitution in areas frequented by sailors and tourists, and extortion of businesses in commercial districts. Vincenzo built a 1990s drug empire focused on heroin, establishing supply lines that brought drugs from Turkey and Albania through Naples for distribution throughout southern Italy. Clan structure, with approximately 90 members, was smaller than dominant families like the Casalesi, but strategically positioned and well-connected with other Camorra clans. When Vincenzo died, the family faced a succession crisis. In Camorra culture, leadership typically passes to sons or brothers, but circumstances, arrests, deaths, or incapacity sometimes force families to adapt. Maria Licciardi's assumption of leadership in 1999 was initially seen as temporary, but she quickly demonstrated capabilities that earned respect even from rival bosses who would never have accepted a woman as an equal under normal circumstances. Her innovations in clan operations focused on diversification and internationalization. She expanded the family's prostitution operations, controlling sex work throughout central Naples, and developing trafficking networks that brought Eastern European women to Italy. This expansion into human trafficking proved highly profitable, with revenues estimated at $800 million annually across all clan activities. Maria also modernized drug trafficking operations, establishing direct relationships with Spanish criminal organizations that provided cocaine and maintaining the traditional heroin networks through Eastern European suppliers. Mallardo clan. March 15, 2024. Italian authorities arrest Francesco Mallardo and several associates in a coordinated operation targeting the clan's continued bid-rigging activities in Campania's construction industry. The arrests demonstrate that despite decades of law enforcement pressure, the Mallardo clan, based in Giugliano, a town northwest of Naples, continues to infiltrate public construction projects, manipulating bids and extorting contractors. For Francesco, born in 1961 and serving as acting boss since his father's imprisonment imprisonment, the arrest represents yet another challenge for a family that has survived primarily through its deep penetration into Campania's construction industry and its sophisticated political connections. The Mallardo clan's history began with Domenico Mallardo, born in 1951, who rose during the 1980s by recognizing that controlling construction in rapidly developing areas offered more sustainable profits than volatile drug markets. Giugliano, their base, experienced dramatic growth during this period as Naples expanded and suburbs developed. The Mallardo clan preferred infiltration and corruption, bribing politicians, placing family members in strategic positions within municipal governments, and creating networks of compliant contractors who paid protection money in exchange for being allowed to bid on projects. This lower visibility approach proved remarkably effective. With approximately 70 members, the clan was smaller than dominant Camorra families, but their control over Giugliano's construction industry was nearly absolute. The family's annual revenue reached approximately $500 million, generated primarily through extortion of construction companies, bid rigging that inflated project costs, and direct ownership of construction-related businesses. The clan expanded drug operations, establishing connections with Netherlands-based suppliers who provided cocaine for distribution in Campania. They also invested heavily in Portuguese real estate, using properties in Lisbon and Porto to launder construction profits while creating legitimate income streams. These international operations required sophistication beyond traditional Camorra capabilities. The Mallardo clan employed accountants, lawyers, and financial advisors who structured transactions to obscure criminal origins. Francesco's 2024 arrest, while significant, represents a setback rather than a death blow for the Mallardo clan. The family's structure, built over 4 decades and involving multiple generations, provides resilience against leadership arrests. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.